All right, so I went to Bangkok. This is the second time I was in Bangkok. First time I was in Bangkok was on my way to Korea, and I was there just a couple of days. But this time, I knew about what's it called, Khao San Road, which is where all the cheap hostels are and stuff. So I went down there and I stayed there, and it's like lining this road. There's all the tourists, and they had like these movies you could watch outside. And for a couple of days, I was riding around. For some stupid reason, I didn't do the Thai massage over at Khao Po. Was that called Khao Pat? School, the big, most famous Thai massage school. I didn't do that for some reason. But I did do the tour of the palace, which is beautiful because it's like all these different temples all next to each other behind this big wall, and they're plated in gold. And I guess their dynasty or they had their king there up until like World War I or something, and it was very ornate and pretty. And I didn't do any of the sex tours and stuff. I didn't, for some reason, I didn't even know about that, and I probably would have if I did. But I did have a day where I rode around the city because I had to go to an embassy to do something, get like a new passport or can't remember what it was, but I rode across town and it was very polluted. It wasn't as bad as it was not as unhealthy as Kathmandu, because Kathmandu has these little tuk-tuk things that spew like blackness all over your face. I guess the ones that they use in Nepal are even illegal in India. They're like building um, air conditioner machines that power the engines. But but Bangkok was really bad. It was up there. Not a very healthy place to ride around, but I had fun anyways. Because there's so much traffic on a bike, you can just weave through everybody and run lights, and you can get around pretty fast. And so then I left Kathmandu and I went, Bangkok, and I rode down towards the islands. So during the day I'd ride, and then I'd stay at a hotel. And I noticed that the Thailanders, what are they called? The Thai don't really clean up their beaches in their place. There's lots of like just trash and stuff. But I tried to take a boat to this island called Kalfat or Kofangang or something from one town, but there was too many waves, and I guess a boat sank or something. So I went to another place, and I got sick of riding at one point, and I took my bike and actually caught some guy red-handed. The guy who works on the bus stealing tapes out of my bag. I actually took it out of his hand. I didn't say anything to him or the people he worked with, though. I should have. But then I got out and I took a boat down to Koh Phangan, and I wanted to do and I stayed there on the northern side of the island. There was a small series of little huts that I could stay in. There was all these tourists there, and the lady who was running the hut sold mushrooms to everybody, magic mushrooms. So everybody was tripping, and we hung out on the beach all night long. I think it was a full moon, and there was people were having a blast. It was really fun. There was one couple there who was just cracking jokes the whole time. Like people were walking by and they saying, "Oh, look, another moving postcard." But it was fun. And then I went down to the southern part of it where there was this gym and stuff. And I was going to do the scuba diving, but I said, "Oh yeah, I kind of have asthma," and they were like Germans and they freaked out and they didn't want to let me. So I went down to Koh Samui instead, and I did this scuba diving down there. And but it wasn't very interesting because it was right after a storm and I could only see like a couple feet in front of me. We did take a boat out farther and saw a little bit, but and then I took the boat back to the mainland and rode my bike down, and actually met up with some guy who was bike touring north, and we went into some town and shared this hotel room one night to save money. And but even though we were going in opposite directions, and he'd done that same tour like 10 years beforehand, he just wanted to do the same route again or something. And then I went down to Georgetown, and which I guess is, yeah, and yeah, and then I crossed into Malaysia. That's right. and rode down Malaysia. And Malaysia, I noticed, was, I guess this is another video, but I'll include it. Malaysia was definitely distinct from Thailand. It was more upscale. It was kind of like a first world country. The roads were in a lot better shape, but there was a lot of clear cutting. I could see whole patches of just clear cut, and then I'd go through another patch of a forest where all the trees were planted in a row, and but it was cool to be riding on nicer roads. And stayed in some kind of hotels on the way down, and went to Georgetown, which is Malaysia, and I got sick. I was having lung problems, I think probably from just being around all these like polluted cars, and I went into the hospital in Georgetown, and they have a good healthcare system. They gave me some inhalers and some antibiotics and stuff. Then I took the boat over to Sumatra in Indonesia, and rode my bike from wherever I got off. I can't remember where it was. There's this orangutan place, but I didn't do the tour. I should have. But I guess there was some orangutan sanctuary there. And I did stay at the town there, though. It was one of the, I think it was like the third biggest town and city in all of Indonesia. And hung out there for a couple days. And then rode my bike up to Lake Toba, which was fun because it was up in the mountains and it was cooler. And I took the boat across to some like touristy area in a bay and stayed there for a couple days. And that was for New Year's. It was becoming, let's see, it was 99, going from 98 to 99. And there was this big party with all the, like, disco party, playing music with all of the, all these tourists there. And this Indonesian guy who was running a restaurant there gave me a bunch of mushrooms and magic mushrooms, and I went nuts and danced all crazy. It was fun. And I thought he was going to kayak canoe with me around the entire island, but he kept saying he would, but then he disappeared. But I did go to his house for the actual crossing of the year, and he had this like meditation with his family. We all sat there quietly. And he said his grandmother was 130 years old, but that wasn't true. Indonesians have just for some reason like to lie, just a lie. But so he disappeared, and so there was this English kid who said he would do it. So like, not the first, but like on the second or something, we did that. And I rented a canoe, a dugout canoe, a two-person dugout canoe that weighs so much that like two people couldn't even lift it up. Weighed like 300 pounds or something, because it was carved out of. But actually, before I did that, I rented a motorcycle with some Indonesian kid who wanted to go with me. We rode the motorbike down to these hot springs at the other end of the island where how this island is. It's really pretty. It's this island that's as big as Singapore. Huge island inside of a lake that is on an island of Sumatra. And this lake, well, the island's not completely an island because there is an isthmus that connects it to Sumatra that's maybe like a mile long, and that's where the hot springs are. And so we soaked there, and then came back, and I came up with the idea to rent a canoe and canoe around the entire island. And so I found this English kid who had been teaching English in Bangkok for the last couple of years, and I had a bunch of mushrooms. A couple of these, these canoes are interesting because they don't have any rudder, they don't have any bottom part on them, so they totally move like this. And they have the one-person ones and the two-person ones. And I was on a one-person one, and there was this Indonesian girl who wanted to go on a ride with me, just around the bay. And so she got in, and she was rocking the boat. She said, "Oh, be careful, though, I don't know how to swim." And she gets in, and she's rocking, going, "Oh, no, I'm going to fall out. Help me, I'm going to fall out." But she's kind of screwing with me. And then these other guys rode up to me and wanted to sell me a bag of weed, like this big, for like $5, and I didn't do it. I should have, though. But I got mushrooms, I think, from my friend. But I guess that I will continue the trip on the next video.